like the biggest wins for me through all of this have just been knowledge and peace of mind. I feel like I already had a pretty good hold on my expenses coming in. And that's also kind of thanks to you. I had been following you for a while before I joined the academy. And so had already been like tracking all of my spending beforehand. So I didn't come in with a whole lot of wiggle room in terms of like cutting back on expenses.
Uh-huh.
But I was not doing any investing outside of my company 401k. And like just didn't, I had no idea what to do. And like I didn't even know the questions to ask about my 401k. I mean, I was maxing that out, but it's just like, okay, my company knows what they're doing. They're taking care of me. Like I don't have to worry about this.
Yep.
And was putting money aside in savings, but again, it was just sitting in savings. It wasn't doing anything. So, um, I now have an IRA set up through Vanguard. I do have some money in a money market account there that's at least earning more than it was on just my savings account through my bank. I've changed my investments in my 401k. I know exactly when my student loans are going to be paid off. And there's a lot of things like in terms of investing that I don't feel like I'm ready for yet, just where my financial situation is, but I at
Yep.
least like I have so many resources and tools now, things that I can play around with. So that as my income grows and as I get bonuses, which I know are coming in the future, like I have options and I feel like I have the resources to make educated decisions about what to do with my money instead of either just blowing it on spending or just continuing to like let it sit in a savings account. So,
Yeah.
um, I just feel so much better informed about where my money is going and what my options are in the future. Like I said, like I'm not necessarily ready for real estate investing, but when the time comes, I feel like I know where to go to
Yep.
be able to make some of those decisions. I don't have any children yet, but when I do have children, I also feel like I have resources. Like I've watched all of that content through the academy, but
Yep.
it's awesome that I know where I can go, when that becomes more relevant to me. So, um, I feel like I was completely like investing and largely financially illiterate before this program. And now I just feel so much better. And like even I'm 31, so even talking to friends my age and
Yeah.
being able to speak to like ETFs versus index fund versus mutual funds, they're like, Emily, what are you talking about? I'm like, you guys, this isn't that hard. Like, so it's just, I feel much more empowered with my money, I guess.
That's what I've heard in general, barring or taking away numbers is like I feel better. And that's like
Yeah.
the whole thing that we're trying to accomplish here is like money shouldn't be hard and like we can control the controllables in life and that's one of our controllables because life's tough in many other ways as you can attest to, right? So it's like let's focus on what we can actually control. We can fix this, we can feel better about this, and then we can focus on what's hard. Like the whole Logan situation, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. It's
Yeah.
like that's a whole different type of hard. So like super proud of you. Have you calculated your net worth recently as to where I know June 30th is about to come up any moment now, but have you done any net worth growth calculations since you started?
Yeah, I looked and it's been about $15,000, which I know is not huge compared to a lot of other students. I
No,
also
that's
had like
excellent. You're moving in the right direction.
yeah, and I also had my transmission go out like during this process. So again, that like hurt, but when that
Sure.
came up, I had the money and I knew like I was able to then plan like, okay, how do I build my emergency fund back up? So that in and of itself was a win. Um, but so like I said, in my mind, that's not huge growth in net worth, but I just feel so much better now, like about the potential for that to grow because I know I feel good about where my money is sitting now.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah,
And
but yes, I did.
it's a compounded effect, right? So like
Right.
15,000 turns into 30 to 40 to 150 the next couple 6 months, right? As we kind of grow and stuff like that. So that's a phenomenal start. What would you tell somebody that's on the fence or actually before I even ask that, like what would you how did you get over the fear of joining the program and changing your life and stuff like that? Because obviously I was online. You said you were following me for quite some time, but like how did you trust me? Like at the end of the day, like be brutally honest.
Um, I I had started hearing more about some of your students' results, and I think I don't know. I jumped on a few of like the free calls. And I think at one point I started listening more intently about the results that your students were seeing. And then like doing kind of the consult or the application, whatever you call it, when I talked with someone and they were
Yep.
asking the questions, and even the questions that they were asking me, like, I feel like they're speaking to me, like I feel like I'm made for this program.
Yep.
Um, and also I had just hit a point where, like, to be very honest, like I've grown up in the Midwest.
Mhm.
A lot of people my age are married by now. And
Yep.
so, and I grew up in very much like the guy takes care of the finances.
Yep.
Like
I'm
I just
from
thought that was
Cincinnati,
like,
Ohio. I'm from the
yeah.
Midwest as well.
So I think for the longest
Same
time, I
age.
just thought I wouldn't have to worry about it. And I'm like, okay, Emily, like time's still ticking. Also, you have a great job and you're making good money, but like your savings is not reflected in that. And I still rent an apartment on my way to like being able to actually afford the down payment for a condo. But I remember in December, looking back at December of the previous year, and I was like, I have no more saves than I did a year ago. Like, what the heck have I been doing with my money? I need some help. So I don't know. It was just like a kick in the pants. And
Sure.
again, I'm just thankful that I had already been following you. So I just feel like the more I realized the need, the more intently I started listening, basically.
Yeah, it's how it usually kind of progresses. What would you tell somebody that is skeptical though? Like, sitting on the sideline, they're like, "Hey, I really want my finances fixed. Nothing's happening, nothing's working, but I don't know who I can trust. There's so much information out there. Why the academy? Why would this be a good fit?"
Um, I guess I would say like one, I like accountability. So for someone who's like, okay, I want to learn, but I actually want some accountability as I go. You guys make everything like very, very simple, very easily digestible. I like that it's broken out over 6 months. There's a clear path. And then just like the individualized attention when it comes to first off, like working through cash flow and then
Yep.
coming up with an investing plan. Like who else is going to sit down and do that with you and actually give you all of the information and give you insight to like what you're doing, what Tom's doing, but not say just go copy and paste. Like,
Yep.
let's figure out what makes sense for you and let's make sure you understand all of the options you have before you just choose based off of someone else's experience. So I love accountability. So I can talk all day with someone about why having that aspect and not just like the online class where you're just going to sit and go through and no one really knows on the other side if you're digesting the information. Like
Yep.
with the support you guys have built in, it's like, okay, are you getting it? Are you sure you're getting it? How do you apply it to your own life? Yeah.
Yep, yep. We ask that a lot because like sometimes people are afraid to ask, and we're like, we make it as apparent as possible. Like we invite those questions and stuff like that. So